Welcome to Barron's Roundtable, where we get behind the headlines and prepare you for the week ahead. I'm Jack Otter. Coming up, President Trump looking to bring manufacturing back to America and remake the U.S. economy, what it means for big industrial stocks, and where you should be looking to invest now. But we begin with our expert panel and three things investors ought to be thinking about right now. On the Barron's Roundtable, my colleagues Ben Levison, Teresa Rivas, and Jacob Sonnenschein. So we squeaked it out, Ben. It looked like there was going to be 5 straight weeks of a falling market, but on Friday, the buyers came to the rescue and we eked out a win.
Well, buyers came to the rescue, but not really much. I mean, they came in because the market was down. The market finished up a little bit on Friday, which helped the S&P 500 finish the week up 0.5%, ending that losing streak that it had. Still not a huge gain, but it's better than the alternative, which would have been a lot of losses. There wasn't a ton that really was driving this. It was more just about, it felt like the trading action was really the driver here. The Fed meeting, we had a good Fed day. The market had its best Fed day since July, but all we got out of the Fed was more uncertainty. And so I think right now, it's just this is the noise that's happening. The market is trying to figure out what comes next. There's a lot of trading around in circles, and we kind of ended up almost where we started.
The NASDAQ is looking particularly ugly. The Magnificent Seven are not at all magnificent. How are you looking at that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is part of the problem is that people have looked at those stocks and how well they've done, and they're seeing that, you know what, they're still good. They're still producing good earnings, but they're just not able to carry the market right now. And I think that's why you end up with a NASDAQ that was up only 0.2%. There are lots of stocks that are doing well. It's just not the Magnificent Seven. And so without them doing that heavy lifting, you need a lot more stocks to work. So right now it seems to be canceling out almost and leaving you with the market that's up a little bit now.
Yeah, the equal weighted ETF is doing better than the market as a whole. Okay, so the uncertainty that Powell's been talking about, that everyone's talking about, that's not going away. But I know you're going to be looking for indicators. What's next week that you'll be keeping your eye on?
I mean, there are two things that I'm watching, and both of them have to do with inflation. We get the PCE reading, which is the Fed's favored inflation metric. It's a little bit different than the consumer price index that we get, but it gets readings from those. Interestingly, after inflation was actually weaker than expected earlier this month that we learned, the PCE is expected to rise. But the one I really care about is the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Survey. We want to see if sentiment continues to deteriorate. Hopefully that starts to rebound. But we also want to watch inflation expectations there, which have been rising. And that has to worry the Fed. If people start thinking inflation is going to go up a lot, they might start acting on it, and that creates a long-term problem.
Yeah, it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Teresa, one of the few shiny objects in portfolios recently has been gold. Can that keep going?
Exactly. So as Ben said, there are plenty of reasons to worry. Who isn't looking for a safe space right now? And that's just been gold. So gold has been rallying for some time. It reached fresh highs again this week, crashing through the $3,000 an ounce mark. And I do think that it can keep going.
So what would power gold higher, and how high could it go?
Exactly. So I think the ongoing worries are a clear reason people are still just flocking to safe havens. Gold just really is the perfect option for them, but it doesn't look too expensive either. If you look at the S&P 500 to gold ratio, which is just kind of a wonky way to say how many ounces you would need to buy the index, it's hovering a little bit below 2 right now compared to 1.6 historically. If you use that as a proxy for its value, you could see gold going up to $3,500 an ounce, or the S&P dropping to 4,800, which hopefully will not happen.
You get there one way or the other. So gold is not the only commodity that's doing well right now.
Definitely. Copper has also been doing really well. Part of that is tariffs, and people are a little bit concerned that maybe if economic activity isn't so strong, those prices will come back. But on the bull side, there has been strong demand around the world as other countries are still interested in the energy transition. And if economic activity holds up, I think you'll see industrial and precious metals continue to make gains.
And JP Morgan even came out this past week and upgraded Freeport McMoran, which is they're a copper miner. And I think that is what we're going to start to see, is that these mining stocks, which have kind of been left for dead, are going to get more upgrades and maybe some outperformance.
The commodity super cycle. It's actually kind of interesting because Dr. Copper is supposed to be an indicator of good economic news. Maybe it's a bullish sign. We'll see. Jacob, let's talk about a very volatile part of the market, quantum computing stocks. And this was a sad week. Cue the sad music for quantum computing stocks.
Yeah, coming into this week, into NVIDIA's conference, the quantum computing stocks had gained many times over the last several years. Massive gains. You got to the conference. The good news is that CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, confirmed that over the long term, quantum computing is coming. It's happening, and it's going to grow. It's going to take a really long time, and it's going to take a long time for some of these companies that many of them are generating less than $100 million of revenue this this year, it's going to take a while for them to turn a profit, and that's why investors were taking profits and selling those stocks.
All right, so tell us a little bit about quantum computing. Apparently, I'm not going to be trading in my MacBook for a quantum laptop anytime soon, but long term, this is an important trend.
It is important. There aren't that many of them actually out there today, but it is an important trend long term for sure. For NVIDIA, by the way, NVIDIA is way down. If you want exposure to it, they'll sell the chips at some point.
I was just on the chart of Rigetti. That stock was up like 430% over a year, but flat over 5 years. So it's an interesting space to play.
My favorite thing about it is that for NVIDIA, I mean, NVIDIA gained after this happened, and they're the big winner because everyone's got to buy their chips, whether these companies make money or not. NVIDIA chips
Jensen Wong is always there with the trend.
You know
Invest in Wong.
Thanks, guys.